Saturday night when the West Tigers take on the Parramatta Eels at 7:30 p.m. If you're not heading to Leichhardt Oval, the best place to watch the game live and loud is at West Ashfield, Leagues Club, home of the West Tigers. And you can make a night of it too. You can grab a delicious pizza, burger, or any pub favourite from the Garden, or a fantastic Chinese meal from Wok On. Of course, West Ashfield practices the responsible service of alcohol. Drink responsibly. And of course, you can find the home of West Tigers, West Ashfield, at 115 Liverpool Road, Ashfield. For more information, visit West Ashfield's website, westashfield.com.au, or give him a follow on Facebook or Instagram at West Ashfield. And welcome into another episode of the West Life podcast. I am your host, Josh Barnett. We are sponsored by West Ashfield Leagues, best place to watch the game live and loud, and you can do that this Saturday night when we take on the Parramatta Eels. If you're not heading out to Leichhardt Oval, and of course MG Pump Solutions, also a big supporter of the show. Big Shane still got big jobs on, and not joining us tonight. We'll try and get him back by the season's end. What will happen first? A win for the West Tigers, or getting Shane back on the show? But we'll try and get the big fella back on eventually. And of course, please give us a follow on the socials at Westlife Pod on Instagram and Twitter. And if you want to support and take part in the show, you can do at patreon.com/Westlife. And if there's a better time to join the Patreon, probably tomorrow is your best bet. That's Tuesday for those listening on Tuesday, because tomorrow night we have Timmy Brasher and Shane Walker coming on the show, and the Patreon guys are going to get be able to ask the guys questions. So if you're a Timmy Brasher fan, Shane Walker, long-time Tigers fan, want to reminisce, the Patreon guys will be able to chat with those guys tomorrow night. And please subscribe. Seeing there's plenty of people streaming on YouTube right now. Give us a like, share, like everything, subscribe, notifications, all that jazz. Support the show. Love yous all. Aaron, I'll go to you first. I'll leave Rob on hold for a bit. How was your weekend? And what are we sitting at, about 28 hours since full time in whatever that game was? It's just, I described it on the Discord as we're emotionally invested in a Chinese water torture, but we're hoping for pleasure from it. Like, it's just, is there anything positive to take from that? Like, it was just absolute, like, it's just boring. Like, just no tries. Ugh. Where do we go from here, Az?
First of all, my weekend was pretty good until about 2 p.m. on Sunday. For the most part, I was enjoying myself, and then the game happened. So anyway, hello, everyone. Thanks for having me on again, Josh. And I think the positives to take out of the game were Adam Dwyer looked a lot better with the game time, the minutes that he had. And despite the result, despite the lack of tries, I feel like we had two pretty solid debuts there from two of our young up-and-comers. I think they both played reasonably well. Obviously, we'll get more into those later. But yeah, those are pretty much the only two positives I can really take out of that game. A few other players tried, but for the most part, it was just difficult to watch.
Absolutely. Shouts to GL on the YouTube, about as uninspiring as this podcast. We'll maybe go up to your search bar, buddy, and type in inspirational speeches if you want inspiration. And maybe we're not your guys. But thanks for watching anyway, mate. But plenty of other options on the internet if you don't want to watch. But Rob, it's just non-stop. It's just tough times. How
everywhere, mate, aren't we?
You've had 24, 26, 27 hours to calm down. I know You and the boys watching the game yesterday, as all of us, just absolutely uninspired. It's just you can't think of a better word than that. It's just I don't know. I think the effort was there. Honestly, think the effort was there from the team. It's just, but apart from that, it's just just boring, dull attack, and it's just hardly any offloads. We'll go through the stats of the players soon, but it's just a very forgettable game.
Yeah, look, I'm not going to single out who I thought were bad players. We're just not getting anywhere, bagging everyone. And I think a lot of what I'm going to say is just pretty repetitive from last week and the week before. The one thing that stands out to me, deep down, there's no belief in the team. There's just no belief. Hasn't been belief for 3 weeks. We were piss poor in the forwards. So no matter who you thought was bad in the backs or who you thought missed tackles or who you thought kicked badly or whatever the backs did. By the way, I thought the wingers were outstanding and actually tweeted that about 20 minutes before full time. Kenny Mamalo was bloody unbelievable. Like, he was obviously inspired by going back to his former home ground, Mount Smart Stadium. Josh, look, we're trying to find positives, mate, but we lost to a team that lost 7 games in a row before yesterday.
Yeah.
And we literally seem to end everyone's losing streaks. We seem to be if someone hasn't scored a try, they'll score it against us. Like Tohu Harris scored his first try for the season yesterday. Last game, the Canterbury new debutant, Morin or whatever his name was, scored a try. Josh Alloway, he scored 3 tries this year against us. He can't score against anyone else. We just seem to... people make records against us or something, anything that's groundbreaking or new or something bad, it seems to happen against us. I just don't think we're going to win another game this year. As I've said previously, there were some positives. I know, Adam had a few missed tackles, but I just thought Adam looked pretty focused when he came on. I liked a few of the things he did. Anyone that had doubts about him being a 5'8", go wake up yourself, seriously. If you didn't watch last year, you were in a coma. So I think Adam looked good. The wingers looked great. I thought Fanua Pole did a lot of tackling. I think he only missed 1 tackle, maybe made 37 or something like that. But, the score, New Zealand are a bad team. We held them for 25 minutes, okay, and they took a kick for goal. And they did get a couple of tries off bombs. One, I thought we might have even been able to get a penalty, Josh. I don't know, we scrambled on our goal line a bit, but then we just kept giving 6 to goes instead of tackling the bloke and sticking our foot out and just doing dumb plays. Ultimately, Josh, I come back to what I said at the start. There's just a lack of belief. And I think it's just my theory. I don't know. I'm just giving my opinion. I think the fact that the guys know that Kamali's an interim coach, I think deep down underneath, in their subconscious, they know they don't have to perform for him. He's a lovely bloke. Everyone knows he's a great guy. Okay, but deep down, they know he's not going to be the coach next year. We've lost, as we said, we've lost to New Zealand, who lost 7 in a row, and they had their best back out. I think he's their best back, Reece Walsh. They had a halfback playing fullback. We lost to Manly without 2 of their best. We lost to Canterbury, who we beat a month earlier quite easily. We're just rubbish right now, and the fact that we don't have a full-time coach, we're just in no man's land. There's just no, we're not set. We can't set for next year until we have a coach. And I understand, the club missed out on their man, and I know they just can't jump into the next bloke available. They do have to get the right guy, but they've got to do it bloody soon, Josh, so we can have some hope or belief or something. Because I know I'm not the only one that hasn't got belief, and I'm pretty bad, because I've actually been laughing at people that have got belief and they're believing some of the things the club are saying and all that. And obviously the club have to give us hope, and they have to trot out some good stuff. And, this is what we're doing, and we're financially good, and we've got kids coming through. And, mate, we're years away, Josh. We're years away. And it's just so frustrating, man. And honestly, I'm good today. I feel great. But last night I was a grumpy you-know-what, and I hardly got any sleep. And I woke up at 3:30 in the morning, and I just thought, what am I putting myself through this for as a fan? It's not like it's around the corner. it's not like the club loves its fans, as Lee has said and shown. And I'm obviously on the wanted list. Like, they fucking hate me, which I don't care about. Like, I love my colours, I love the team, but I'm just starting to wonder, why do I have to put myself through this shit? Why do my kids have to go through it? Like, we're just fucking rubbish. We're absolute fucking rubbish. And there's no sugarcoating yesterday. I don't care if it was 22-2 or 62-2. We got smashed in the forwards, Josh. They killed us up the middle. They absolutely killed us. They made clean breaks up the middle. If we had a couple of blokes in the tackle, we couldn't put him down on the ground. We couldn't finish him off. It's just, I don't know, man. It's just hopeless. It's just really frustrating. And as West Tigers lovers, and the three of us, and Shane, four of us, we're all podcasters. I want to say good things about this club, and I was saying good things about it 6 weeks ago. I'm the thing I'm looking forward to most now is naming a coach. That's my next.
Let's talk about that, because there's talk. There's talk that of Tim Sheen's taking over. There's talk that Noddy Kamali's not going to get the gig full time.
He can't. Like, he can't. They just can't.
They can't be. I know we harp on about management and the decisions that they make, but surely they can't give Noddy the full time gig. There has to be someone a bit with coaching experience, and like that's going to draw players and just inspire these guys. Because, like you said, he's a nice bloke, but I don't think it is. Yeah, he's definitely not the answer. As I've kind of got to the point, like, just we need to get a coach in. Like, do you think it's urgent that we get a coach? There's still, what do we got? 8 rounds left, but
9.
9 rounds left to go through. Like, I know we need to make the right decision, but like I think we need to get a coach in ASAP. What do you reckon?
Yeah, we definitely need a coach in ASAP. Not only for the fact that having a coach will, I guess, not really put the broom through the place, but encourage the players that, well, if you want to stick around, if you want to play for this bloke, get your ass in the gear, sort of thing. But it will also help us, or help the players know who's actually going to be coaching them, and if they're going to want to re-sign for us, and then we can get started on the negotiations especially with the guys like Adam and Jacko and Laurie, all those guys that we pretty much want to keep or are close to wanting to keep. As soon as we've got the coach and that we know who it is, they can start putting their touches on the place and who they want to keep, who they want to get rid of, and hopefully give the fans a little bit of hope back for next year.
I heard a whisper from a pretty good source that who was that call? It was, we went under the alias of Madge on our call-in show. By the way, we advertise this as Event Pod, and if anyone would like to come on the Event Pod, we literally couldn't. No one really DM'd
Everyone's
us.
had enough.
Yeah, I think everyone's just has nothing left to say. But if anyone would like to come on tonight, feel free. We'll there's like 60 odd of you watching the stream right now. So if you're listening right now, send us an email, podcast@westlife.com, or send us a DM on one of the socials. I'll drop you a link to come on and vent your spleen, as some call it, Rob. But yeah, I heard a whisper that Adam Dwayhe is actually unhappy at the moment. I'm worried that there's going to be an excess. I mean, he's under contract for next year and that sort of thing. People are talking about whether or not he will leave. I think with him, it'll be down to if he's given the halves role, and you could tell, like, what minute did he come on the weekend? He went into the halves pretty
early.
Pretty early on in this game.
I'm not sure exactly. Maybe 25 minutes.
Yeah, 20. I think it was 20-25. It was the back end, the second half of the first.
Yeah,
second half of the first half, if that makes sense. you could tell, and him and Jacko, it's the first. Yeah, I mean they did a little bit previous game, but them and the halves together is just got to be, get that combination going, and that should be the halves of the future for mine. But I think the situation basically for me is if Brooks, they need to get rid of Brooks to keep Adam. That's how I think, because I can't see them putting Brooks in second grade for the money he's on. You got to give the half spots to. We got to give a half spot to. I guess you could play Jackson at lock, but if Adam doesn't get that half spot guaranteed to him, I could see him walking. What's your feel on that, Rob?
Look, I said last week, I think Adam loves the club. I don't think he wants to go anywhere. From what I saw yesterday, like your rumor could be right. I don't know. And I don't know how, like I gather for you to say it, you got it from someone reasonably close to him. Adam was pretty focused yesterday, and he'd be that sort of bloke anyway, whether he's unhappy or not happy. He'll go out and do his job and do his best. And, he put Garner through a nice hole yesterday that, maybe Garner, if he'd have looked on his left, he would have seen Kenny looming up and we would have got a try out of it. I think if we don't put the right people around Adam, why would you stay? Like, you've only got a short career. You don't know what's going to happen injury-wise, like if he's ever going to hurt himself again. I think the fact we've got Appy and Isaiah coming next year, that's going to help. But, whenever I try and think of a problem or try and solve it, I think, what would I do in that person's shoes, or what would I think, Josh, in that person's shoes? I mean, if I'm Adam Dwayhe and I've seen what's gone on the last, say, 6 weeks, I'm saying, what the fuck's going on? Like, he was pro-Madge. He wanted Madge to stay. They got rid of him. They were shopping Brooks around. They're not shopping Brooks around. It's not just the halves, Josh. Even now, like, if we assume, obviously, Appy's going to be our first hooker, we need to make a decision, or the coach, the incumbent coach, needs to decide who's our second hooker. Okay, is it going to be Simpkin? Is it going to be Little? Is it going to be Brown? Is it going to be someone else? Is it going to be Rua when he comes back next year? But, like, if, for example, Simpkin's going to be the number 2 hooker, get him in fucking first grade now. Get some games under his belt if he's going to be... Whoever's going to be the understudy to Appy has to be in first grade now and get some more games under their belt. It's not like Simpkin hasn't played enough games. If that's the number 2 guy, we need to get him in there. And if Little's the number 2 guy, which I don't think he is, then keep Little in there. But just get someone, give them enough time to, like, maybe if they go through another 9 losses, they'll learn more about themselves and be better players for next year. But you just can't have, just playing everyone willy-nilly. Like, play the guys that are going to be there next year. Like I said last week, Josh, why are we playing Kelmer? Kelmer doesn't look interested, man. Kelmer's putting out like 50-odd meters and missing a few tackles, and he's always got like that smart-ass look on his face after he belts someone. Like, he just doesn't look like you look at his output compared to someone like Garner or Joffa or someone like that. It's chalk and cheese. Like, okay, I get we're short of first graders, but just piss him off. Like, we need to be looking at. It's nothing personal against him. Just get guys in there that are going to be there next year. It's just, we got rid of Luch. We got rid of other guys. Like, why not get rid of him? I just don't get where we're going with it. So I just want to see a coach picked ASAP, and then I can start watching the games, thinking, right, there's going to be a bit of purpose here. Like, there's obviously a plan. Let's see what they're trying to do, or who they're playing, or what they're thinking. But right now, Josh, after yesterday and the mood I was in last night and early this morning, I've decided I'm not watching another live game this year. I mean, I have to do the podcast, so I'll watch a replay. But I think if I watch a replay knowing what the score was already, I won't get frustrated. But having watched it with my boys and actually just seeing how physically upset they were getting over it, I just thought, man, this isn't good for us. This isn't healthy. This is stupid. This is meant to be just a game of football. And my family takes it too seriously. I wish our hierarchy took it as seriously, but they've absolutely ruined our 2022. Absolutely ruined. As for the coach, Josh,
with half a season to go,
I've been told it's Josh Morris. I mean, for me, like I say, if I'm
John Morris,
John Morris, so if I'm one of the fringe players, and the head of football takes over the coaching job for the rest of the year, I'm like, well, hey, man, I got to pull my finger out because he's really employing me. Noddy might not be there. He's going into pathways with Betsy, but Tim Sheens is the man. I've got to impress him if I want to get an extension on my contract or whatever the case may be. He's coached 4 premierships. He's a man that people will listen to, whether you believe him or not. He's a great speaker. He's got enough experience. He's been in these sort of situations before, Josh. I remember I think it would have been 2010, we got flogged by South at the cricket ground. Absolutely flogged. They might have put 50 points. And it was one of those
I think I remember that one.
It was one of those performances that was pretty similar to how we played Melbourne last year. We just looked like we didn't want to tackle, and we had a great team. And Tim Sheens just packed the boys up, took them somewhere down the South Coast for a few days, got their heads in the right place. They came back and they beat Newcastle in Newcastle, who are a decent team, in wet conditions, and grinded out a really heroic win. But he's a sort of guy. That game. Yeah. He's the sort of guy that could get them together and knows what he's like. He's a coach. He's not. No offense. I know part of coaching is administration, but he's not an administrator, Josh. He's a coach, and he's a great coach, and he's one of the best coaches. But then the other part of me says, well, why didn't any other NRL club want him after we sacked him? He hasn't coached a team for 10 years. So, he's coached a team in England, but he hasn't coached a team in the NRL. But we've put all our eggs in his basket. And I'm not saying he won't do a good job. I know his heart's in the right place, and he's a very intelligent man. And we've actually got a common friend that Sheens wouldn't know about, that, or know that I know him, but he's one of my great mates, and he's known him for 40 years, and he swears by Tim Sheens. He thinks he's the greatest guy ever, and I'll take his word for that. But we're in a crisis now, Josh. He's the boss of football. Maybe I don't know. Maybe Tim thinks he's on a hiding to nothing like Noddy is, because really, whatever I think of Noddy's coaching, he was in a no-win situation. He's come into a group of players that really don't look too interested, especially the last few weeks. And I don't think it mattered who was the coach. It was always going to be a struggle, Josh. So I just think it'd be nice. I'd feel better if he was coaching, but that's just me. But I don't know. Why do we have to develop a coach? Why do we have to develop a Kamali or develop this or develop that? I'm still gutted that we missed out on Serraldo. Not so much that we missed out on Serraldo, but Serraldo has turned around and told the club, you need an experienced coach. I'm not the man. Now, what does that say if they were putting all their eggs in Serraldo for 5 years and he doesn't think he's the right coach to turn it around? How am I supposed to have faith in the decision makers if Serraldo and his manager said, maybe there's a bit of diplomacy there and they're trying to be nice about it? Oh, look, I don't think I'm the right guy. Get someone more experienced as a bit of a cop-out, but maybe there's a bit of truth to that. So there's just I'm still told John Morris will be the guy. I know from what David Riccio says, Tim Sheens wants to coach again. To quote David Riccio, he said he's still got a bit of an itch. Well, if he's got an itch, mate, we need serious scratching right now. We need serious hope. This is rubbish what we watched yesterday, Josh. I'm going to repeat it again. We lost to a team that hadn't won 7 games in a row. They lost 7 games in a row. They're absolute rubbish. And we still lost to them.
Missing their best player too, or one of their best players.
Their best player. Well, definitely their best back. I'd probably say Fanua Blake is their best forward.
Yeah,
and he's their best back. And it's just like I said, man. I said I'm not going to get emotionally attached, but man, you sit with your boys, and as soon as the game starts, you go, "Come on, Tigers! You can do this. Get up for it." And what about our attack, Josh? We've said that under Madge, our
lack
attack
thereof.
Yeah, well, under Madge at the start of the year, we had no attack. By the time he left, even though we got flogged against South, we scored 18 points. One from an intercept try, I get that. But our attack looked good against South. Our attack looked good against Para. What's happened to our attack? Why has that disappeared all of a sudden? Nothing.
I think Jackson Hastings' leg might have something to do with that as well.
But Josh, we ran some.
But yeah, there's less. The forwards aren't offloading. There's just.
There's no purpose, Josh.
Yeah,
there's
no 2 offloads the whole game.
There's no purpose in our play. There's like I said, there's a lack of belief. I'm not saying they didn't try yesterday, because if you didn't try, you'd concede more than 3 tries and 2 of them off bombs. I 100% get that, but I'm just trying to look at it. We played arguably the third worst team in the comp. You'd have to say that the West Tigers, the Gold Coast Titans, and the Warriors. If you can name me another team that are as bad as those three, please name them. And we couldn't score a try against them, Josh. We couldn't score a try, man. It's just like I don't know.
A couple of comments are saying if Sheens takes over, how does that look for Pascoe and Lee? Because they hired him. Would that be like they falls under them, doesn't it?
Look, the way it is now, Josh, we missed on Seraldo. That's the, for want of a better term, that's the embarrassment for the club. But right now, like we're desperate. Are we actually deep down? Do we really want to say that Kamali's our best option for next week or the week after that? We need something. Aaron, what do you think of this? Like, do you think Tim should step in, or do we just wait and just say, you know what, let Brett Kamali lose another couple of games before we get another coach?
I think Sheens needs to step in now. We're going horribly. Honestly, there's nothing to lose other than Pascoe, potentially his job, maybe, if Sheens steps up and takes over for the time being while the search for the new coach happens, because the team, for lack of a better word, are just playing uninspiring football. Sheens may be able to turn that around for the rest of the year, which might give the fans a bit of hope for next year. But yeah, I think with the way things are at the moment, Sheens needs to have some sort of influence on the playing group in the coaching role, because something needs to change in a hurry.
Can you guys both explain to me, because you know me 100%, like I want Pascoe gone. I think he hasn't been accountable for his mistakes. But what I don't understand with what you're both saying, if Sheens coaches now, why does that make Pascoe look bad? I'm lost on that thing. I don't think it makes Pascoe look bad. Why does it make him look bad? I don't understand what you're saying by that.
Well, Pascoe and Lee would have to make that decision, wouldn't they? It wouldn't be just Sheen say, no, give it to me. Wouldn't they have to give it the green light?
Well, they would have to give it the green light, but if Sheens went up to them and said, he doesn't have to say anything, mate. You know,
he's got nothing to lose, really. We can't be any worse.
You know what Lee and Justin think of Tim, because they're basically giving him the keys, for want of a better term. I know they've got committees and everything, but they're pretty much relying on his say-so. I mean, if Tim Sheens came up to you or me, Josh, and Brett Kamali came up, and we had a choice of who to pick as coach, who are we picking? A head coach that's been around since, I think he started coaching in 1983 or 84 or whatever it was with Penrith.
Yeah.
Or we're going to pick Brett Kamali, who's never coached an NRL club before. Like, I just think for where we are now, the fact that we missed out on our guy, I don't think it makes Hadjipentelis or Pascoe look bad if Sheens is a coach. And I'm not jumping on the bandwagon of what these guys are saying today about Sheens coaching and Buzz Rothfield putting an article. Anyone that listens to this podcast, I said a week and a half ago that Sheens would be my interim coach, because Kamali on his first couple of games hasn't looked like, it just doesn't look like they're responding to him. I'm not saying he can't coach, but ultimately, Josh, if you can't get the players to lift, and I don't think many coaches could get the players to lift, but I think maybe Tim Sheens has that respect, amongst the NRL community, especially the players, where the players, their ears might prick and think, you know what? Okay, we got a real coach here. We got to pull our finger out. I just don't know how we go from playing the way we did 6 weeks ago to how we are now. I can't understand it.
To go back, Big Boss Ben asked my preference for 2023. Look, if we could have our choice, obviously not your Bellamy, your Robbo, or your Bennett. Obviously, they're impossible to get. Todd Payton is also, he's got one more year at the Cowboys. Is that right with him?
Yeah.
So, I think Todd Payton would be great. Let's just the Sheens link and all that sort of thing. I think the next best. I think I'm talking myself into John Morris. The interaction I had on Twitter with Bryce Gibbs was pretty funny last night. He's very against Flanagan, and that says a lot. The fact that he played for Flanagan as well. He's really putting his name up for John Morris, former teammate at the Tigers. They play together at the Sharks as well. Did they link up with the Sharks? Can't remember. Obviously definitely play together at the Tigers when John Morris was there. But
Yeah,
I don't
Peyton.
know. I think given John Morris a year or two, like, yeah, I don't think there's a better option out there. Just don't sign him up for 5 years. See what he can do. See if he can inspire these guys. If he can bring in playing talent on the back, because he was pretty popular with the players. The big thing for me is just someone that's going to bring in cattle, because we're bagging Noddy out at the moment, but the fact is we already were decently under the cap. We've let Luch go. Like, basically, we've got a few injuries as well. A couple of guys out for the season. So the squad, A, is not healthy, and B, just isn't up to scratch. So for me, it's someone that comes in and just, yeah, it brings some players that want to play with him. I want to coach that the players want to play for. So, I mean, what Todd Payton's done with the Cowboys is freaking unbelievable. And the whole thing with Sheen saying it's going to take 2 to 3 years. I mean, how long did it take Todd Payton to completely flip the Cowboys? An off season?
It's
Like,
the second year with him.
yeah, like, yeah, I can't cop the. My expectation for next year is to make the top 8 with guys coming in with the cap in order. There's no reason why this team can't make the top 8. I won't cop like another year of improve for the next year. We've said that in the last 2 freaking years. I expect the team to make the top 8 next year, and to get to 8th isn't that big of a leap, really. Like, it'll take. It's going to take some correct decisions, and I wouldn't be surprised if we don't make the 8. But my expectations for next year, with Appy Papa coming in, yeah, if things go right, we should make the 8 next year. I won't cop anything less. There's no excuses, really. The new coach will have the cap's in order. We've got money to spend. Like, just get another sign. There's well over $1 million to spend for next year still. There's not a lot of talent left. They kind of need to pull their finger out, but they're not going to do anything until we get a new coach. So for me, it's if John Morris is announced tomorrow, I'll be happy. Pretty much. That's where I stand. What about you, Az?
At this point, we just need one of them, whether it's Flano, whether it's Morris.
I'm apprehensive. I'm apprehensive with Flano. I know he's won a comp, but I don't know. Maybe I'm too much of a goody two shoe, but there's just too much stink on Flano. But yeah, go Az. Sorry.
Yeah, I've said the same thing a few times. I'm against Flano. I don't think it'd be the greatest idea, but at this point, we're just going to have to take whoever we get. It's probably going to be one of those two. I'd say it's 95% chance that it'll be one of those two, 5% chance it could be someone else. And that someone else won't be Noddy because he's not making it happen. I just want to go back to something you were mentioning before, Rob. You guys you guys know me as your stats guy, so I found some for you.
Yeah.
Kelmer and Garner, I'm going to compare the two of them. They both played 80 minutes. They both played the full game. So Kelmer made 8 runs in 80 minutes. So that's a run every 10 minutes for a total of 59 meters with 20 post contact. Garner made 1 less run, but I feel like we noticed him more. In saying that, in his 1 less run, he ran 78 meters, which is 19 more than Kelmer, and made 26 post contact, 6 more than him. So more impact from less runs, and both of them aren't going to be at the club next year.
Yeah,
so
I think
the fact that
Yeah, I was going to say, Aaron, one of the like that extra 20 meters there, you could probably put down to that little double pump fake from AD Adam Dwayne when he put in that hole. But yeah, look, I'm not. I know the numbers aren't great, and I only compared it to Joffa because look, we did a lot of tackling, and the other thing too, we really didn't promote the ball to the edges very much. Definitely in the first half, our kicking game was poor. There were just a few things wrong there. I don't know, but even if Garner was busting 150 meters, let's put someone in there that's going to be there next year. Like, why can't we play Tuki Simpkin or I'm just giving you a name. Like, if he's going to be there next year, let's play him. Like, what is the point now? We're going to lose every game basically anyway, guys. I just think we should be blooding the guys that are going to be there next year. I don't want to see the guys that are going
we can
to
win games. I don't believe that we can't not win another game.
But are we trying to win?
I think like if those players want to win a game, I think they can win a game or two. Like if 10 games to go, like I'm not saying it's impossible. Like I would be surprised if we lost all 10. If someone comes in and if these players want it, we're playing at Leichhardt Saturday night. I know we're playing the Eels, but like I don't know. There's in the modern age of rugby league, like we should be able to win a game of rugby league if the players want it, and yeah, like a coach comes in, makes the right call, and yeah, I know what you're saying. Like you're not expecting. It's so dire at the moment that we're not going to win another game. But why? Why not? Why can't we?
It's very simple. Because as a team, as a one team, one entity, as 17 men, there is not the belief in themselves that they're going to win a game.
That's what I'm saying. And if they flip, they've got to flip that.
If they flip the switch, the switch, of course they could win a game. But right now, every team that's playing us should be $1.01. Seriously, they should be $1.01 to win, because we're not winning a game until, like you say, there's something switches or where they're motivated or where they're lifted. And I don't know what that's going to take. A new coach, some maybe a little bit more, like a few more players making their debuts, because there's going to be, if we have 5 or 6 young guys in there that have hardly played a game, well, that's nearly half a team. And if they're pulling their finger out and ripping in, well, maybe that'll rub off on some of the more experienced players. But right now, Josh, there's just no belief, mate. There's just no belief.
I agree. Like I do agree with you saying. That's what I'm saying. They got if they can flick a switch and win a game, but it's just we don't have a lighter at the moment.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's why I want to coach. I honestly would be happy for John Morris, for the club to announce John Morris has been hired to come in, and they're just Adams extended, Jackson's extended, but like it's just get on with it. I just feel like we're in purgatory at the moment.
We're in absolutely in no man's land, limbo, whatever you want to call it. Like, but the thing is too, like you mentioned about Kamali, like we're saying I've actually said we're throwing him in the deep end, and the players aren't responding to him. I'm not saying the guy can't coach, but as it is now, he hasn't been able to get the guys mentally up, which I said from day one. He hasn't got the guys mentally up, and that's probably not his fault, but that's his job. So if I'm being harsh on Kamali, I'm being harsh on everyone, because I've said 100 times he's been thrown in the deep end, and I think most coaches wouldn't do well under the circumstances, and that's why I think Tim Sheens probably knows every little trick and psychological ploy to get inside players' head, to get them motivated to do something or give them little goals or something. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, Josh, but I just feel we can't do worse than having someone like Tim Sheens as an interim coach. He is the boss of football, even though he wants to leave it to the coach to decide, who his hookers are, who his halves are, who his fullback is, etc., etc. They've got to work with Tim Sheens. So there's no better person than having Tim Sheens as coach. And if he's got that itch, man, just get in there. And maybe they've got to find a way to do it in a way that doesn't look disrespectful to Noddy or to offend Noddy. I don't know. But, man, we're in a crisis.
I just think they've got to have the future. They've got to start the future now. That's if Sheens comes in, Sheens is a Band-Aid. I don't want a Band-Aid. I want 2023 basically to be planned by someone coming in.
No,
like
we all do, but
now.
there'll be the argument there, Josh, that like, you know what, why should we rush a coach and sign a coach next week instead of 3 weeks from now if we're going to sign him for 3 years? Like, why don't we
Yeah.
just wait 2 or 3
Yeah.
weeks? Like, I get it's not easy. That's why, you know, as I said last
No,
week,
of course.
we shouldn't have done the Serraldo thing publicly. And everyone knows I bagged the shit out of the club, but I was probably the first bloke that said, even though it was embarrassing to have a media release, I actually said on the podcast I didn't mind the communication and actually saying what was going on, and I'd rather it come from the club than from the journalists. So if anyone thinks I'm like totally biased about it, I'm not. I'll call it as it is.
That agenda.
Well, yeah, I probably do have an agenda against the CEO because, like I say, he's never taken accountability. But if Tim Sheens becomes coach for the rest of the year, I don't know how that makes Hadja Pentelis or Pascoe look bad. I think it's a good thing. Even if we lost more games, like at least he's the head of football. He's the one that, like, he won't have to do an investigation into what's going on. He's literally the coach now. He's there and he's running training sessions and he's seeing what they're like and how they're reacting and what their mentality's like. And I just think it's perfect for him to be around it rather than, you know, where was he on Sunday? Sitting at West Ashfield instead of being in New Zealand.
Yeah.
Like, he should be there. He should be the coach right now.
The fact that he didn't even go to New Zealand kind of tells me I would think that he doesn't want to, unless it was, yeah. That's a good point.
You'd have to ask him, but you know, at the end of the day, Sheens is going to be spinning all the stuff that Pascoe and you know, future's wonderful, and we're financially good, and we've got all these kids coming through, and I've heard this shit for 6 years, man, 7 years.
Okay, let's get through our 41 minutes into the podcast. We'll get into our run sheet. That's okay. That's why this is exactly why people love you, Rob.
We are therapy.
Yeah, the therapy
Rob
session.
speaks on behalf of everyone.
Absolutely.
And honestly, like I said, I had a run in with someone yesterday. I honestly, like, if it helps the fans, great. I speak for myself, guys. I'm not trying to be a fucking hero. I just call it how I see it. I've got no credentials. I'm just a podcaster like you blokes with an opinion.
Yeah.
I've watched the game. You know, I'm 56. I've watched it since I was 5. So I've got over 50 years experience of watching the game, supporting the team. I've got my own views. If people don't like it, that's their business. They've got views I don't like. They don't. Not everyone likes me. That's fine. But at least when I say something, I try and back it up with a bit of logic and fact, or to my logic anyway. And if someone says, no, you know what, I think it's this way, I want to know why. I want to understand how they're thinking, or what they like. I'd love someone to come on the podcast tonight and give me some positives. I really do. I don't mean individually. I mean like where we are right now. What's positive about it? Because it's bloody depressing, man. It's really depressing.
The big criticism. Big criticism we're copying at the moment is we're always negative,
but I'm not. I'm not always negative.
We're literally not scoring. We're not scoring a single try. Like it's what. Well, wherever there's that little spark of positivity, I mean, Papa and Appy are just like can't get here soon enough. That's basically the tiny, tiny
light.
Great, yeah, the light at the end, possibly a little bit of a light at the end of the tunnel. But thanks to all you guys tuning in and listening to the show. I love you all. All right, at lower grades, so the Jersey Flag boys, so all three. These were back to back at Campbelltown last Sunday. So the Harvey Norman girls got a win 12-0 over the Knights. I believe that puts them in finals contention. Is that correct?
They are in the finals.
Yeah.
I believe the semis are being played on Saturday at Cogra, I think it was.
Okay.
Let me just see if that's been officially announced.
Thanks for clarifying that for me. New South Wales Cup won 18-12. The Maggies got a win, which is good. 18-12 over the Knights. And unfortunately, the Flag guys, they got done 20-0 to the Knights at Campbelltown, a very wet Campbelltown Oval on Sunday. If anyone headed, let us know in the comments. If everyone, I saw a friend of the show, Keith, was out there braving the rain, watching all three grades. So yeah, let us know in the comments if anyone was out there. If you got any, it sucks that you can't watch it. Like we should be streaming. I don't know what the broadcast policy is, but the why can't the club stream those like all three grades playing together? Give us just one camera pointing and streaming. Surely can't be that hard. But anyway, on the Cubs too. Yeah. What was the score in that Cubs game? Did you say, Rob? We were talking about it earlier.
34-18.
So they beat the
The
Warriors.
18 team.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on to the game itself. So, a few stats for the back line. It was pretty easy making the graphic this week. It's a few zeros still. No try assists, literally no line breaks from a single back. Obviously, no line break assists. Jacko with the most runs, which is crazy considering he's probably if he's a V8, he's only running on about 5 cylinders at the moment, I reckon. But 195 meters from Ken, he was running it hard the whole game, and somehow Adam Dwayne. Did you work? What time did he come on as? Did you work that out before? It was about 20, 25 minutes in. He had the most kicks.
Minute.
He had the most kicks in the game, 9. He's definitely got a good boot on him. Those torpies were looking pretty good. 383 kicking meters, and Brooksy moving. The kind of cheating here, saying Brooksy got the most tackles because he obviously moved into hooker, and Stafford Toa had 2 errors. As who are your standouts in the back line in this one?
So, the way he came on in the 31st minute, just to clear that one up.
Okay, so he played 49 minutes.
Yes, and essentially 50 minutes. The standout back would have to have been Kenny Mamalo. He was essentially a forward with the run meters that he made. He took the most carries. He was an absolute fucking machine.
Yeah, he was a beast.
About the only player who was.
Yeah, he's just. I tweeted out he was, and someone commented before he was probably our best forward, and he's not even a forward. But yeah. What about for you, Rob? Anyone in the back line stand out for you? I think Jimmy Roberts was okay in the centers.
Yeah, he didn't have too many touches. I thought Noffa was pretty good too. I actually thought, I know Noffa runs a lot east to west and not north south, as you know we like to see. But just on Kenny for a sec, guys. I think whenever we talk about players or whatever, we say, "Oh, so and so's best game," we seem to look at them in our wins. I think that was Kenny's best game ever for us. And
wow.
It's hard to say that when you lose 22-2 because you think,
no tries.
He had no tries, and what was it worth? But watching that game live, he was just tearing onto that ball, and it was a lot like I was at the South game at Combank, and he was running exactly like that. That was probably one of his better games too. But he was just sensational, and as you said, 195 meters. Noffa made quite a few meters as well. So out of the backs, I thought those two stood out. I said I don't want to knock players or put, say too much bad about backs or what have you, but Brooksy missed 8 tackles. I don't know if those 8 tackles were when he was at 5'8" or when he was at hooker, but that's what I saw on the stats as well. So he didn't have a great game. But as I said to you last week in the preview, Josh, I always thought it was going to be unfair that you start a bloke at 5'8" and move him into hooker during the game. We need to just rotate the bench. We should. Your spine is a spine because it gives you stability. You don't have a rotating spine, and that's what we did. We rotated the spine and moved him from 5'8" to hooker, etc., etc. It just doesn't. It shouldn't work like that. It wasn't fair on him, and also we were playing behind a beaten pack, so really it's hard to look good with the backs. Just a personal thing. I really had the shits that Toa kept giving six again. It was driving me bloody crazy because you defend for 4 or 5 tackles and then 6 again, and we still held them out. They had the penalty goal.
The D was. I was pretty impressed with the D. They were definitely using their shoulders and covering. We only scored one try, not off a kick. So our kick,
goal
whenever
line D was fine. The goal line D was fine, but not in general play, Josh. Not in, mate. They rolled us in the middle, mate. They rolled in the middle. They made ground too easily.
I mean the effort, defensive effort. Maybe I should.
Well, goal line scramble, you could say was goal line scramble was, like I said, 2 tries off bombs. The Tohu Harris try was very soft.
Yeah,
but
they had like 4 sets in a row or something.
Oh, they had multiple sets in a row on multiple occasions. So, like, we did do well when we were on our goal line, but just the way I actually saw it with New Zealand as well. I thought both teams' defensive line speed was really poor. Like, we just weren't. There was just no speed in our line. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's scary to say we missed Tamo because Tamo normally leads that defensive line speed. But yeah,
and don't forget Twally.
But obviously Twally, but it was one of the ugliest games I've ever watched. I actually tweeted they should replay the game at 2 a.m. Like, no one should have to watch that shit. It was just rubbish. It really was. It was a boring game.
Should have played it in Hawaii, so it was on later.
Play it so we couldn't watch it. It was terrible.
Righto, the forwards. So Mr. Offengawi's face is on this quite a lot. So he had 18 runs, 139 meters, 60 post contacts, tackle break, 5 tackle breaks, an offload, one of the few offloads in the game, 58 tackles as well. He pretty much Luke Garner, the only line break in the entire game. Missed tackles 4 from Kelma Tuolagi, which we talked about him earlier, but Joe Offengawi, just continues to be an unsung hero. I kind of feel for him. He's played State of Origin. He's played for the biggest club in the league, in the Broncos, and to put his body on the line that he does, and just, I wouldn't say it's pointless, but for no wins and no celebrations coming from it. I kind of feel for him. But what are your thoughts on Joffa, Az?
Yeah, ever since he came out and said what he said after the Sharks game earlier this year, he has stepped up week after week after week. He's putting in, he's doing what he can. He, as you can see, and based on what you've said, he carried our forward pack. He essentially carried our forward pack on his 2 shoulders, and he's the only reason why any of our numbers looked half decent. Him and Kenny, I'd have to say, but as a forward, he showed the rest of our forward pack how to play the game yesterday, and it was just really disappointing that there was no reward or anything for him. I've got a question for you, Rob. This one might make you think. If we had Twally playing yesterday with the way his attack has improved, do you reckon that would have given us a better chance of scoring a try with the way he's been playing so far this year?
Good hypothetical. He definitely would have made a difference to our team, Aaron. Like, of our starting pack, Joffa's like the lone hand. You know what I mean? Like, literally, he had no support from that starting team. I think Fanua Pole did really well when he came on, but I can't say yes to try, mate. He hardly does an offload. So how can I say he would help our attack? But yeah, I mean, is he going to run 15 meters and give you a quick play the ball? Of course. And he's a very strong player, but he would have shored up our middle, which probably meant we would have had better field position to start our sets. They wouldn't have made as many inroads into our defense. And he's just a huge loss, guys. He's a huge loss. So, we're missing him, and like Luciano Leilua from round 1 to 7, we could have done with him as well. We obviously, he wasn't really having it didn't look like he was having a serious dig the last few games, but we're missing a couple of our best forwards. So, and then Jimmy Tamo as well. So there's 3 blokes that are, 2 of them are starters, and Twally's been sort of shuffling between on the interchange bench or starting. But I don't know if it would have helped our attack, Aaron, to be honest. But I mean, we couldn't have been any worse, surely.
I mean, it's hard to be worse than 2 points from a penalty goal.
Yeah, see, I think too with our forwards, even with Thomas McKaylee, with Alex Twal, Luke Garner's, all those guys, it's been on the back of Jackson Hastings, and not bagging him because I love the bloke, but his form isn't the form that it was, 5 or 6 games ago. Now, whether it's because of injury or not, he's just not the same bloke, guys. He's just not playing the same way, whether he's just a bit deflated or a bit down or realises the season's kind of half over or effectively over. I don't know, but I think Jackson Hastings has made a lot of our forwards look better than they normally do. And the fact that he's not in the form that we need him to be, because he does make other players around him better, I think that's making our forwards look even like showing what our forwards are really like, because I think he's made them look better than what they really are, to be brutally
Because
honest.
that game against South, the forwards were getting hammered when we beat South, the game that we beat them, not the game that we lost to, well, both games really. But yeah, he led us to a victory against South when our forwards were still getting hammered. So,
But Jacko wasn't injured back then, Josh, and he looked
Yeah.
sharper on his feet, and he really dug into the line. Like even on those block plays we did, he was like literally, getting there, like just about to hit the cliff, before he'd pass the ball. Like he was really digging deep into the line. Like I don't think we realise how important he is. Well, I mean, we should realise how important he is, but imagine Jackson Hastings and Adam Dwayhe like at their best together.
Yeah.
Like then
Well,
you've got
they've
then
barely
you've
had
got a
80
really
minutes
steering
together.
wheel.
So.
Yeah,
But their combination will get better, I think.
Yeah, I think it will too. But they've got to start a game together for that to happen.
Yeah,
So
they've got to be the half combo. I don't know what you do with Brooks, but I'll come Tuesday 4:00. I want Jackson and Adam in the name in the halves. Like
yeah, so do I.
just pull that trigger, Noddy. Shane asked before, was one offload our top? It literally was. I'm going off NRL. This is the NRL.com stats. It was our only offload in the forwards. So there were 3 offloads in the entire game. Joffa had one, Noffa had one. Joffa, Noffa, and who was the other one? The other one was Kenny. So our wingers had one each. Our forward pack had one between the entire lot of them.
What about our line break, Josh? How many line
for
breaks?
For a dry game is insane. For line breaks, I think Luke Garner was the only line break of the whole game. This is according to NRL stats. Someone said before, didn't Adam get a line break? But according to NRL.com, we had one line break the entire game.
Yeah, no, so Luke Garner's line break was basically a room service pass from Adam Dwayhe. He didn't have to push it. He just ran straight through a hole that Adam created. Yeah. So that's literally the only line break a forward made was because he ran through thin air. Like, you know what I mean? Like our forwards were terrible, man. Our forwards were terrible.
Yeah, it's not good. But we've kind of talked about, obviously Adam came off the bench as well, but the 2 debutants boys, obviously, I thought they were pretty good. What were your thoughts about the 2 debuting boys?
I quite enjoyed both of their debuts. Pole or Pola, however that's pronounced.
Yeah, the commentator was saying Pole, but everyone's always said Pole. Is it actually Pole? Did the commentators usually find out? I mean, they still call Dwayhe Dewey, but is it Pole? Have we been getting that wrong?
I believe we have. I think I remember reading when the Tigers posted something about his debut. I think they said it's pronounced Pole EH, and I didn't know whether that was
Pole, okay,
Pole or Pola, because it could really have been either. So
Pole, there's no accent on it. I mean, obviously he's Pacific Islander background, but yeah, I have to.
But the commentators also said everyone calls him the Icy Pole around or Icy or something because of the name. But yeah, so maybe the players don't really care. Maybe he doesn't care. That's probably one of those situations where you've had a few players in the past in other teams where Adam included, where they haven't really cared about the pronunciation of their name over here, and it's only in recent times where a few players from a few teams like Chance have put their foot down and said, no, this is how you pronounce my name, sort of thing. But yeah, I enjoyed both of the forwards debuts. Diaz, he didn't get the minutes, but he looked like he could make something of himself. And Pole, I enjoyed watching him. I think he could also have a bright future if he knuckles down and gets going. Gets a bit more game time as well. That'll help him.
Brock has pointed out I put the wrong guy. I whipped this up literally not long before we went on air. Brocker, I put the wrong. Yeah, put the wrong. I was literally going through my files, and threw Tumith in there accidentally. Rob, anyway, most people won't see that. Thanks, Brocker. Thoughts on the debutant boys?
Yeah, while I do that, Josh, I think someone threw a question at me, but I couldn't read it. If you want,
Jitty Tiger. He basically wants to know what your team list will be for this week. So after you talk about the, we'll talk about.
Yeah, sure. Well, look, as I said earlier, the debutants, I thought they were pretty good. On to Diaz first. He definitely tried hard. I mean, it looks like he's got to get bigger and stronger and etc. But I'd say he was running it from 3/4 of the way back off the back fence, so he was trying hard. Pole did a lot of defensive work, which was really impressive. So if we've got a bloke who can do 37, 38 tackles and miss one, that's a pretty good ratio for me. So I'd expect to have him in first grade for the rest of the year, and hopefully no injuries happen to him or anything like that. So he'd definitely be in my 17. To answer that question about who I'd name, I definitely I'd be dropping Brooks. So I'd still have Dane Laurie at fullback. Don't think, as I said earlier, it's just my opinion, but I don't think backs look good behind a beaten forward pack. And Dane tends to look really good when we've got a bit of forward momentum. And he looks really good off our block plays when we're running those block plays really well. So definitely have Dane, Kenny and Noffer on the wings. I'd stick with Jimmy Roberts. I'd like to see Junior Tupu in the centres.
Agreed.
That's who I'd go for there. I'd have Adam and Jacko in the halves. Obviously, Joffa at lock. I'd have to see who is available in the second row. And before I get nailed to the cross, the fact that I wouldn't have Garner there and I wouldn't have Kelma Tuolangi there because they're not going to be with the club next year, without knowing off the top of my head who else is available, as much as he's been maligned, if Seyfarth is in our squad next year, then I'm playing Seyfarth. I'm not saying he's good, but I just want to play.
I'd run with Garner.
Yeah, no, but Josh, what's the point? Why are we running with Garner? He's not going to be there next year, mate.
I don't know.
If Seyfarth,
his attitude's still good. I don't know.
But we have seen good form from Seyfarth last year. Last year there were a couple of games, in particular Magic Ground, where I thought Seyfarth was going to really lift, and he hasn't come on this year. But I just think, what's the point of not having 17 guys or as many guys as we've got that are a possibility of being with the club next year? Because there's a few guys like New Brown and even Jimmy Roberts that we don't know where they're going to be next year, but they haven't signed with Penrith or they haven't signed with Manly. If we're truly trying to build for 2023, get some guys with some game time, because what's the difference? We've lost 36-12 to Canterbury. We lost 30-8 against Manly, whatever it was. And we lost what was the weekend? 20, Richie Beno, 2 for 22. So, we're getting flogged anyway. What's the difference?
Yeah, I don't know. I just think Garner doesn't. I think he just deserves to have his spot. And I don't know.
By the way, I'd have Simpkin at hooker. Tamo, if he's available. Your other prop, take your pick. I definitely have Fanua Pole on the bench. Who else?
Jock Madden.
Jock Madden's an interesting.
I want to see Jock Madden in first. I want Jock Madden in first grade.
If we're trying to win, Josh, I'd have a hooker on the bench. If we're trying to,
I just want to see Jock Madden. I just want to see him get a crack before we just let him go off and be halfback for someone else. I just like to, yeah. If we're trialing players, yeah, I think
He
I'd
wouldn't
like to
let us
see.
down in the halves. He would not let
Yeah.
us down in the halves. But if you're going to play Jock at 7, Adam at 6, then you got to put Jacko at 13 and move Joffa up, and it becomes the old cheesy shuffle from over 10 years ago.
Mm. Any disagreements from that? Is there a player we're forgetting about here?
Well, there is potential of playing Tukey Simpkins and Tumeth in the second row. And what was the Matamua, the other bloke who played in the under-19s Origin, could deserve a go as well. And Liam was saying it before in the backstage chat. He thinks New Brown could be a specialist 14, and I agreed with him based on what we saw.
So do I.
When he came on against Canterbury the first time we played them at Leichhardt, because
I was going to say the Leichhardt game, he was really good.
Yeah, two tries, two tries off the bench. I think that could potentially be a way to go. You definitely would want only one bloke who's not a forward on the bench. So whether that be not Simpkin, Madden or Brown, take your pick. Obviously, I don't think you could go wrong with either. But we've seen a few times this year that we've played with a bench that's a bit too thin and a bit too small in the forwards. So we need to stick with the 3-forward bench this year.
Totally forgot about Stefano.
Oh, Stefano will be on the bench.
Yeah.
Stefano on the bench along with Pole and I don't know who your other bench player would be, but maybe Tamo. Maybe Tamo could provide some impetus off the bench if he wasn't starting. But yeah, I agree with pretty much everything Rob said. I do like the idea though of giving Simpkins, Tumeth, and Matamua goes in the second row at some stage for the rest of the year. Give him the experience. I don't think they'd let us down.
What did we think of Stefano on the weekend, guys?
Look, it's not the Stefano that we've come to love.
No, I agree.
Maybe it's just what is his body? Is it his body? Is it his motivation? Not sure. But
as you're able to find his stats for the game, I'm just not seeing I just was so excited about him late last year, even early this year, and I think I told you privately. I said Stefano's going to come on and score a try. I told you that.
He only played 22 minutes.
I know.
Yeah.
Why is he still injured? I don't know what's going on.
3 runs, 28 meters, 13 post contact, 2 hit ups. When
we extended his contract earlier in the year, we literally said we're building our club around this guy. We're building our forward pack around this guy. This
must
guy,
be his body.
It must be because he was in the State of Origin squad last year and had a good look there and came back a beast. And he just seems to be a shadow of himself. And I wonder what it is.
Right, to finish up, MG Pumps 3-2-1. As I'll get you to pick again for Shane. Have you got a 3-2-1 in mind, or do you want a couple of minutes? Do you want Rob to go first?
I've got 4 players. I'm trying to cut down to 3. So if Rob could go first, that'd be great.
Yeah, sure. Obviously, Kenny to me was he was actually probably in the best 3 players on the field. So Kenny for me 3 points, outstanding. Noffa 2 points, and I've given Joffa 1 point. I thought Fanua Pole, however you pronounce his name, very close to even getting points, and I was happy with Adam's little cameo. I just want to say though, as I say, it's not trying to be hypercritical of the team, but when your best 2 players are wingers, that's a poor indictment on your forward pack. Okay, and I think our wingers were our best 2 players, and that's got to change. I want to see Noffa and Kenny have those games and not be able to put them in the 3-2-1. I want to say that it's Jacko or whoever, a couple of other blokes. It just shouldn't be wingers. unless they're scoring 5 tries like Edric Lee the other night for Newcastle, they should not be in the points. Wingers should not be in the points. So yeah, that's just my little take on that, guys.
So you just writing it down. Ken, who's your 2 and 1? Sorry, it was Noff.
Yeah, they're both wingers. Kenny 3, Noffa 2,
Ken Noff,
and Joffa 1 point.
Ken Noff Joff. Okay.
Ken Noff Joff.
As
Has he got his volume on? Hello, Aaron.
Sorry, guys.
Whoop.
I had a bout of the sneezes.
Right. Sorry.
I'm giving my 3 to Joffa. Based on what I said earlier, he pretty much carried the forward pack. 2, I'm going to give to Kenny, because he was essentially like a forward on the wing. He just carted it upfield. He did the best he could in all aspects there. And I'm going to give my 1 to Pole, because I really liked what I saw from him on debut. I think he could have a very bright future. My honourable mention I give to Adam Dwyer. Basically, yeah, I took him out of the top 3 because he missed a few tackles, and I think it obviously not entirely his fault, but and he's looking really good in his comeback. I'm looking forward to seeing how he improves over the rest of the season, how he comes back from the ACL injuries, and yeah, looking forward to seeing what he can produce for the rest of the year.
I'm going to go Ken for 3, Joff for 2, and AD for 1, just purely based on effort. I mean, Adam, when he came on, obviously there's not much else to be said about Ken and Joff, but I think when Adam came on, he's one of the few guys that just it's what we've come to love him for. He just looked like he wanted to win. He wanted it badly. He just seemed to have that more pep in his step. To try and do something, and just no one was going with him. Well, very few people were going with him. So I've got to give AD a point for me. But yeah, and Noffa definitely would deserve one. But yeah, I'm going. Yeah, Ken Joff. I mean, the amount of work that Joff did compared to the other forwards, you got to give him points. But yeah, I thought Adam. If there's a positive to take out of it, yeah, Adam's starting to come back to be Adam, and surely his body is ready. He's played 60. What did he play in the first game? Was it 20 minutes 2 weeks ago?
Yeah,
25 minutes.
22 minutes. Yeah,
he's done 60 minutes. Surely it's 80 minutes. He's got to start this week.
Yeah, and Josh, I'm not going to let this podcast go without saying, because I don't think we've had a podcast go without saying this. The referee absolutely sucked and gave us no favours. Like, I wasn't going to let a podcast go without bagging the ref, because literally they get penalised for tackled in midair off a kick, and then same thing happened to us and we wouldn't get a penalty. They were getting penalties left, right and centre, and then all of a sudden at the end of a half we get a penalty just to even up the penalty count a little bit. But the refs were a joke. Not that I think it would have affected the result, but as usual, we never got it. We're just the punching bags of the comp.
They were fatigued out of the game for sure. Just the amount of the reset, the tackle restarts, and I thought there was a 6 again as well. I didn't think we played out of it. There was a couple of them, but I think there was one. I'm trying to think, was it Satharth or something? He kicked it basically straight into our leg, and he called 6 again.
Yeah,
it was basically a ricochet. Like, it's just
It was the second.
It wasn't the worst no, by no means not the worst refereeing performance we've had against us this year, but that's not saying much.
Yeah, but I think we need Joffa to, like what he said after the Cronulla loss. I think Joffa needs to get the forwards aside and just rip them all a new one and just say,
another spray on camera.
Are you guys with me or not? Like, seriously, because he's the one bloke, that having a crack out of that starting pack. They just need to all get on board, guys, because the forwards lay your platform, and backs can't do anything no matter how good they are. If you're getting rolled in the middle, you're pushing shit uphill.
The late tackle thing, that's Gavin on Facebook. whether or not Fox Sports was showing the wrong thing, but was Joffa the one penalised in that play?
Yeah, I think
I didn't understand.
that's what I saw, and I'm like thinking, what the fuck was that for? Like,
Yeah,
sorry,
and that goal ended the game. Like, obviously we lost by 20, but that made it 3 tries. It was still 2 tries. So you score one more try, it's game on. So that kind of ended the game, that penalty. So
yeah, not that it's on the Tigers.
apparently there might have been someone tackled in the background, but Fox, the coverage didn't show what the penalty was, so I was a bit confused.
I've seen the dumbest.
Brocker said Musgrove hit someone off the ball. Okay, fair enough.
What about when we made that one line break? How Dwayne, I think it was held back in the chase.
Yeah, pulled his shirt.
Yeah,
defending
nothing
as well. Yeah,
nothing.
And it was clear as day. I want 2 referees back. I know a lot of people say no, but I don't know. What do you reckon, Rob? And I reckon bring 2 refs back.
I don't mind it. Like, I think it probably does need it, but I don't understand why the bunker picks and chooses when it gets involved. And just on actual video decisions, I don't know how they don't get it right. I don't know if their screens are big enough for or what they're looking at.
I thought Casey Badger did a good job in the bunker.
Yeah, she did actually.
Yeah.
She was actually really good and quite fair. But just to digress a little bit, Josh, there are a couple of games on the weekend. There was one dangerous tackle where a Roosters player was literally on the ground and the bloke fell over him and he was put on report. And I saw in the South Parramatta game, our soon-to-be Tiger, Papali'i, pushed the kicker as he was kicking the ball, not from in his back or anything, he just pushed him from the side, and that was called dangerous or late. I'm like, seriously, man, like, what if the kicker throws a dummy and runs with it? Like, the penalties that are given these days, Josh, they're just so
baffling.
Not penalties. Yeah, they're baffling. It's just the product's just turning to shit, man. They just need to sort this. It's really hard for refs. It really is hard for refs to do their job. As soon as they see someone go over the horizontal, even if they're a foot off the ground, they're like, oh, dangerous position, penalty. Like, it's just going to cost the team a semi-final or a grand final, and we're just gonna laugh at it.
The commentators were saying that after the Dragons Raiders game with that final play.
That's 6 to go. Yeah, how's that not a penalty? How's that not a penalty? Like, it's just they've taken advantage.
How's that not a professional foul?
Yeah, exactly. It's terrible.
It might be because my team sucks in the moment, but the footy just I'm looking forward to NFL season. Not going to lie, my team's got a new quarterback, so I'm kind of keen for NFL to come along. The footy. I'm a Broncos fan, so we're in a bit of a playoff drought, like the Tigers. Just in the last time we were in the playoffs, we won the Super Bowl, but I can't. Yeah, the footy's just doing nothing for me at the moment. But Matt's Arsenal faces prediction for Tigers and Para. We'll talk about Tigers and Para. It's a weird one this week. We're doing Monday and Tuesday, but that was when Timmy, Brasher, and Shane the night that they could do, and we wanted to give the review episode, and then we'll have the team list tomorrow, and we can ask Tim and Shane to give their opinions on the team list and playing at Leichhardt Oval, kind of fitting that one of our favourite, the Balmain Tiger legend, Tim Brasher, is coming on with a Leichhardt game, so that kind of fits in, and Shane as well, obviously.
Two legends.
Two Balmain Tiger / Sydney Tiger / West Tiger. So, so we look forward to that one tomorrow night. Be sure to tune in to that one live. So, because it's on a Tuesday night, if you watch it live, it'll be 8:30, and then audio wise, it probably won't drop till Wednesday. So we'll let we'll spread the episodes out. But come in and join us live at 8:30 tomorrow night. Brocker just asked, would Jackson Hastings come on the pod? I feel like we've tried.
He would.
anyone currently employed by the West Tigers is a bit
Oh yeah,
tough.
they might be instructed not to.
A bit, yeah, it's a bit tough. Although we had Scando on a couple of weeks ago, but yeah, we're trying, but yeah, I'm not saying that the club's telling them not to, but I'm not saying they're not doing that. So it is what it is, as they say. But we'll get some legends on. Shane Walker's always good giving his opinion, and it's nice to get players' opinions that legends of the club that aren't necessarily bound by their paycheck, that they still work for the club. So I look forward to see, as well as having Timmy Brasher on, Shane's opinion on, if you follow him on Twitter, he's very well opinion and very passionate about the West Tigers. And where they're going. Yeah, so that'll be good. So join us 8:30 Tuesday night, boys. I'll see you guys then. Thank you for joining us. There was about 50, 60 of you live tonight. And thank you to our listeners each and every week. You guys in the chat, let us know, how we finish the show. Boys, as always, go the Tigers.
Go the Tigers.
Go the Tigers.